is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Video Nasties. Today we are doing the 1978 film, The Toolbox Murders. Again, joined by Wayne from Retro Horror. If you guys are watching over on his channel, I'm Dan from Reject Films, as always. And I'll let Retro start out with the synopsis of this weird little movie.
So, 1978, the Toolbox Murders. This is a notorious film. Essentially, you've got a killer in a ski mask who terrorizes women in an apartment complex. And the film makes no pretense as to who the killer is. We know right out of the get-go that it's Cameron Mitchell. Cameron Mitchell's in his element in this. He's a psychotic apartment manager. He's kind of a religious fanatic. He had a terrible tragedy in his life and lost a child. And I think that kind of spurred him into these killings. This film's kind of a tale of two films. The first half of this film is just a batshit crazy slasher, and then the second half is almost like it's like a police procedural. It's got some psychotic elements to it. Thriller psychological elements to it, but you've got a slasher combined with a thriller, and it's an interesting film. Of course, the film's well known for the use of power tools, with the key death being Kelly Nichols, the porn star, who that clip of her being chased around by I guess it's a drill gun, that thing, that when this movie came out, this made the rounds of all the TV talk shows because it was such a notorious film. And that whole scene of him chasing her to the country music background, that really disturbed people. And it really, the first 30 minutes, I think, is pretty disturbing in the way stylistically, the way it's shot, coupled with this kind of this lovey-dovey country music, it's very low-key, kind of matter-of-fact approach, is really a very disturbing first 30 minutes, analogous to Don't Answer the Phone. That's the famous first 20 minutes of that movie. So interesting film. I don't think it's as shocking and upsetting as, say, when it came out. The moral panic that occurred in 78 to the early 80s. You had people like Phil Donahue and Roger Ebert and people like that showcasing the Kelly Nichols scene and saying, this has got to stop. I don't know that it's all that awful, but it is, I think it's a fairly disturbing series of just kill after kill after kill that first 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was loving the beginning of it. Well, after you get through that long opening drive scene, which is shot in just like pictures. I mean, spoilers. I mean, you got to say what happens at the beginning. What triggers the whole events is, it shows his daughter in a car crash at the beginning. And then that whole sequence was pretty lazy, I think, on their part. But after you get through that, like you said, once the killings start, I'm like, man, this movie's, pretty freaking awesome. Like, I'm loving the kills. The blood actually looks really good. It's not that real fake looking blood like you had at that time period.
Yeah.
Which I can see why it got on the Video Nasties, for one. Like I said, it's a realistic looking, blood effects and everything. And yeah, with that nail gun that only holds one nail, I guess. He needs nail gun. I mean,
he's having to reload, chase her around, right.
When she gets him on the bed too, I'm just like, what is her plan here? What is she? I mean, let's face it, hands down, like they say in the features, at least on my version. I know we got two different versions here, but it's not a good movie by any means. It's really not. It's fun during those kills, but like plot wise and everything else, it's not shot very stylistic for the most part. It's not a great film by any means, but I had fun with it though. I mean,
yeah,
you got a director here too that I mean, I looked through his filmography. He looks like this is about the only horror film that he did. So,
Yeah, well, there's a reason why this plays like a TV movie. This is like a TV movie. I
yeah.
mean, if you take out that first 30 minutes, it's really like a TV movie. I mean, with a bunch of amped up gore in the first 20 minutes. But yeah, Dennis Donnelly, this was his only directorial film. I think he did a whole bunch of TV, like Adam 12 and Heart to Heart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it feels and looks like from a static camera angle type stuff. It's very static in the way it's done. Very, very much like a TV movie.
You look like you were upset when I said it's not a very good movie.
Uh, well, I give it a six.
I still enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I liked it. It's just not a very technically good film. Like,
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's anything earth shattering. I mean,
right.
It really probably, had it not been for the moral panic, it probably would have died a very quiet death. But the reality is that scene with Kelly Nichols, the porn star, being chased around by the nail gun, made its way to all these different TV shows. Not Phil Henry, but Phil Donahue and Roger Ebert. I mean, I think all that negative publicity got the film kind of its cult following.
Yeah. And it's the same with a lot of these video nasties that we're covering in the series and everything. And same with a lot of horror films that have a cult following nowadays, if not for certain uproars, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and the uproar of that, and Chainsaw, and all these. You look back at them, they're not really that graphic of movies, especially like Chainsaw. There's hardly any blood. If not for all the negative publicity, which, as we all know, and the saying is, there is no bad publicity.
Yeah, well, I think for this one, the reason it hit the Nasties list was that whole scene with Kelly Nichols. Apparently, that whole scene with her masturbating and being chased by the nail gun, that pretty much put the film over the top as far as the UK censors.
Yeah. Hey, I enjoyed that part. I didn't have any issues with the beginning of that scene.
In fact, I think they cut out. I mean, I've never seen an edited version of this, but I think they cut out like a full 6 minutes of the film, and most of that scene, was edited. And of course, all the bloody bodies, they edited all that out.
So it would pretty much start as him entering the room and end with like her just being dead, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Now that you told me that the I Spit on Your Graves have been edited for UK, I'm kind of waiting to see.
Did you watch them yet?
Not yet, no. Yeah. But I'm sure it's similar,
Yeah, that's crazy that they're still, cut over there after all these years. It's insane.
Yeah, this film, I don't know if you feel the same, but I think this film really is inspired by giallos.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, you've got a masked glove killer.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of giallo trappings. Of course, you've got the twist ending, right? A lot of gialli have twist endings as well that go into it. So it has. I think it owes quite a bit of credit to the gialli films. Of course, Cameron Mitchell, right? He was in one of the most famous Blood and Black Lace, right?
Yep.
The Mario Bava film.
Which, of course, according to the again, my version has that like 25-minute retrospect. I can't say the word retrospective on Cameron Mitchell.
Yeah,
talking about his work over in Italy because of all of his money that he owed to the IRS here in the States, and if he would have stayed here, he would have been died completely broke and lived miserably. So he went over there to pursue his film career and live like a king over there, and so he did a lot of Italian films in that era.
Yeah, he's got obviously a lengthy career. I mean, he had apparently a gambling addiction because he was partial to betting on the horses. Yeah. So he'd make a movie, get paid up in advance, and then spend it all on the horses and be broke the next day.
Yeah, they're saying he owed a lot in alimonies and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Which, you're working your ass off. I mean, you look at actors today, I would compare him to like Sam Jackson or Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah,
Wesley Snipes, those guys that got to put out 5 movies a year direct to video just to make a living because they owe so much money to other things. I'm surprised they haven't fled the country.
I'm surprised he didn't do any mafia type films because he's got that look. I think he would have been he'd been pretty good as a gangster, I think.
Yeah, I got to check out his couple that he did where he was his what do you call them, like the Viking type ones,
yeah, Sword and Sandal.
Yeah.
Sword.
Those look pretty interesting.
Uh,
They compared him a lot to Vincent Price, where they could both take on any role you threw at them. They could, be whatever character you needed them to be and all that. And I can see that. There's not too many actors that can do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that comparison, but I mean Vincent Price is like in a whole different stratosphere.
Well, no, but you could have Vincent Price as this like maniacal, whatever person, and you can have him as this crazy, you could throw him in whatever role is
right.
What the comparison was.
Well, I mean, Cameron Mitchell was a very good character actor, no doubt about that. I like the guy that plays Kent too, Wesley Uri.
Yeah, he was the guy from Land of the Lost, right?
Yeah, he was the kid from Land of the Lost, and I didn't even know. I didn't know he was like he had this huge full blown love affair with Richard Chamberlain that went bad. Apparently, he and Richard Chamberlain were a couple.
Interesting. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll say that scene with him and what was his name in the movie? Joey. Is that right?
Yeah.
That one I didn't like that one. I didn't like the way that went. I'm not spoiling everything, but man.
Well, it feels a little forced. I don't know. It didn't feel natural.
Yeah. So apparently this is a based on a true story, or?
Well, loosely. I mean, at the end credits would make you think that this is based on a true story from the 60s, but apparently the script writers had some information about a serial killer in Wisconsin that used power tools to kill his victims. So there is some, although I couldn't find anything to substantiate that. Apparently their inspiration was some Wisconsin serial killer.
So again, I'll go back to kind of like Chainsaw, where it's based on said events or something like that. Yeah,
I think I got to give a shout out to George Denton too. He's the musician, because I think the music is it's very disturbing. It's very much like Last House on the Left, because the music is incongruent with what you're seeing on the screen, and it makes it very uncomfortable. I mean, particularly the Kelly Nichols kill. I mean, she, they're playing Lovely Lady over top of her getting, drilled to death. I mean, it's there's a reason why this film kind of created a misogenic panic back in the 70s and 80s. This film was everybody associated with this film was accused of being a misogynist.
Yeah, and as we talked before the recording, I compared it to American Psycho killings, where you have happy, upbeat music going, so it's still disturbing because the music doesn't match what's going on the screen, and that
and I think that's on purpose, and it's very effective. I think this film is really a precursor to American Psycho in that respect. I think there's a lot of similarities to that film.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it overall for what it was. I mean, it got a little weird, once Cameron Mitchell had her, again, spoilers, had her held captive, and it really became a Cameron Mitchell's movie from there. I mean, it's obviously, and as I was talking before too, him ad-libbing 90% of his lines, and even the motherless child song that he's singing to her, and he really embodied that role. I mean, like you said, he put 100% into all of his roles, no matter what the movie was.
Yeah, he pretty put apparently he really enjoyed himself in this role, and you can see that. I mean, he really carried the film to the extent that you could be carrying it. I gotta talk about Pamela Ferndon. Pamela Ferndon, the girl that he kidnaps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was on a bunch of TV shows as a kid, but she was also Lucy Van Pelt. She was the voice of Lucy Van Pelt on the
Right.
Peanuts. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, but a lot of interesting actors in this. I mean, Stephen King apparently thought this was one of the scariest movies ever made. I mean, I would think the first 20 minutes are probably justified. Yeah.
And it was good enough to where, Toby Hooper remade it in I forget what year, early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, like 2004. I like the remake too. I don't know if
Which
you've
I
seen it.
haven't seen yet. Yeah, it seems to only have a DVD release for some reason, which I may just grab. It's like $10 on Amazon, but
Yeah,
I
there's
hear
a
the second one's garbage. But
yeah, the second one's not as good, but I think the remake of Toolbox is really good. It's an underrated Toby Hooper film.
yeah, from what I hear, it's got like a supernatural part to it, but it doesn't really go anywhere with the supernatural side of it. It just kind of
Yeah, I mean
meshes with.
the killer is more of a monster type killer, you know, like See No Evil. It has much more of a supernatural monster type feel to it. It's not just some guy going around killing people.
Yeah, I know as soon as I grab the DVD, someone will put it out on Blu-ray, which I don't understand why they haven't. I mean, it's got Toby Hooper's name attached to it and a name of a film that we all know already. I mean, it's kind of strange, but
Yeah, it doesn't have a Blu-ray.
no, not that I could find. I even searched like Diabolic DVD and everything to see if there was an overseas release. I couldn't find anything besides the same DVD. And
Hmm.
cheapest I found was Amazon. Diabolic's like $20 or $17. Amazon's $10. So
Huh.
it's kind of strange. I mean, I'm sure it's rights issues. I think it was put out by Lionsgate or something though, so I'm kind of surprised that
Yeah.
they haven't done something with it. But
Yeah,
you know,
I guess I've got the DVD of it. The second one I think has got a Blu-ray though.
yeah, put out by Scream Factory.
Yeah, yeah, the second one. Gary Graver was the cinematographer on this one, and he was Orson Welles' DP for a while. So he's got some cred. Now I don't know if he or the reality is you still got a lot of static shots like a TV movie in this, but I don't know if that's Gary Graver's fault or the director's fault. This was Dennis's first directorial effort. So, and he did all this TV stuff. So I guess the look and feel of the film has a lot probably to do with that director.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too where it would have been interesting to see where this director would have went had he stuck this route. I couldn't tell from the features or anything if this is something that he did just for money or because he was kind of forced to and didn't really want to or what the deal was, but it seems like he could have improved a lot and gotten pretty good at the horror genre.
Well, I think he has a feel for the genre, certainly uh, based on the first 30 minutes, the way he meshed together the music and the kills. I mean, I think he has a feel for the genre, no doubt. So this is a quickie too, man. They shot this in like 18 days for like 160,000. They didn't spend a whole lot of money on this. So you got a pretty good slasher film for very little money.
Yeah. Yeah, I say I definitely recommend this for any slasher fan. I mean, definitely a precursor to the 80s slashers. It's got a lot of those elements of those type of films at the beginning of it, at least. I mean, just going around and killing people nonstop for, like you said, the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie, and
Yeah.
you're just having a good time with it. And
I mean, you can certainly make an argument that the pacing is off. I mean, I don't know why they would stack like 3 or 4 kills in the first 15 minutes and then, the rest of it turns into this police procedural psychological study. But maybe they could have moved it around a little bit and kind of changed the pacing. But I mean, other than the overall pace of the film, I mean, I don't really have any complaints on this one. I give it a 6 out of 10.
yeah, I'm probably about right there with you. Well, like you said, I mean, he's a TV director, so pacing is different for television than it is film. So,
Right.
he's probably used to getting everything in so quickly that he didn't know what to do after a certain point, or.
Well, 18 days is quick, that's for sure.
All right. I mean, I say definitely if you guys are slasher fans, just pick this up. Again, this is the '88 Filmz release, and Retro's got the was it Blue Underground? Is that what it is?
Yeah, this is a Blue Underground.
So if you guys aren't, this is region locked, by the way. So if you guys aren't region free, don't buy this one.
Well, and I think yours is a 4K scan, right?
Right, mine's a 4K scan from 2017, and has that, like I said, that slashback memories. David Val or whatever his name is remembers Cameron Mitchell, and it's got they both have interviews with Kelly Nichols, and mine has the audio commentary with slasher expert and author of Teenage Wasteland, Justin Kurzweil. And you got a different commentary on yours.
Right? Yeah, I've got the producer's commentary, Tony DeLeo, who basically just said, when Texas Chainsaw Massacre was such a huge independent feature success, he went to some script writers and said, man, write me another one, write me something like that. And this is what they came up with, which was based loosely on, according to the script writers, loosely based on a serial killer in Wisconsin, although, they didn't name the serial killer. And I don't know of any that Wisconsin that use power tools, but they say it's based on some fact.
Speaking of real life killers, if anybody is not aware, we recently, over the last couple of weeks, the real killer from the Amityville horror, that the movies are based on and all that, actually passed away. So just want to throw that out there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that too, that he died. He passed on. Yeah.
He was only 69. He wasn't very old.
Yeah.
So this is the inside art of the '88 release, by the way, which is basically the same thing, just a little bit different. You don't have the
yeah, you're gonna force me to buy that. You're gonna force me to double dip.
Man, it's a beautiful scan of the film. So, like I said, anytime there's different features or a different scan, it's definitely worth upgrading. Yeah, especially for a movie. I mean, I see myself rewatching this. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to have to double dip and get that '88. I don't have it.
Well, I don't really have a whole lot else about this. Again,
no.
Definite purchase just for Cameron Mitchell alone. Like you said, that thing that threw me, and I guessed it right away too. And I've never seen the movie. I'm like, hey, that's the landlord doing the kills. Like, wait a minute.
They didn't even, well, and that's another issue, potential complaint with the film is pacing and the fact that they kind of give you the killer out of the get-go. I think it would have been better had they kind of spread out the killings and made it much more straight giallo, where you're not sure who the killer is. I think it'd have been even more effective.
Yeah. Well, overall, still a pretty solid effort. Like I said, don't go in expecting anything technically outstanding or anything. Just go in to have fun with it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, what do we got?
Good booby shots. You got blood, boobs, and more blood. I can't ask for a whole lot else.
Kelly Nichols was pretty hot back then.
She's a little on the flatter side, but
yeah. Well, she wasn't voluptuous. She had a pretty face. I mean,
yeah, she did. The one chick that you see that's in the shower that you only see her.
Oh yeah,
a minute. Oh man,
you liked her better.
If she was the one running around, oh yeah. I mean, you got some other stuff in this movie too, where you got like the brother and sister stuff going on. You got thing with the mom. You notice a little cop hitting on the mom too. At the bar. Like, dude, her daughter's missing. Leave her alone.
Yeah, you've got some incest, suggestive incest going on here too.
Yeah, I thought they were a couple at the first scene they were in, and then he's like, "Where's my sister?" Like, what?
Yeah, that's again, it's grindhouse 70s exploitation. That's the kind of storyline that you would get from the 70s, which I love. My favorite.
What do we say we were doing next week?
Yeah, what are we doing? So we're doing next week. We're going to do
Island of Death.
Right? Island of Death. Yep.
Yeah. Crazy ass movie.
Nico Mastrakis.
Yep. Which I did a full review for probably 4 or 5 years ago. So that's how long it's been since I've seen it.
Oh,
And
you've done a review of it already?
yeah, I did a full review on it, but that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So you
I'll,
know,
yeah, I'll check it out. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen an Island of Death in a while.
I'm
It's
sure we both got the same Arrow release, right?
yeah, it's the Arrow release. Yeah, back there.
I can't think of another release that it has. So
I can't
look
either.
at it anyways. Maybe
That's
there
kind of,
is.
there's some DVD releases of it, but yeah.
But I've watched a lot of stuff since then and matured or immatured. I think I'm going in reverse, actually.
Well, a lot of people think that movie's disgusting. So
It was, from what I remember, like I said, it's been 4 or 5 years, but from what I remember, it's really kind of boring and weird at first, and then it just gets straight fucking weird. Like,
yeah, it does.
yeah, something with a goat or something,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's out there, guys.
yeah,
So if you guys are interested in watching it beforehand, before we talk about it, definitely do so. That's why we try to let you guys know what we're doing next, so you guys can get caught up with us. And we appreciate the support, guys. By the way, a lot of good feedback from you guys on both channels, and yeah, we're having a good time doing it. So
yeah, I'm enjoying it. Thanks for watching, everybody.
yep. As always, guys, peace, love, happiness, all y'all. Catch y'all next time. Bye.